Justin Marsh, 81 Test veteran of the All Blacks, calls it all on Sky Sport, and you were there also enduring the 7-6 Highlanders win over the Force. Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Good to be back. A really interesting weekend of rugby, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, let's
it,
park the Highlanders game because I want to talk about that start at the start, and that's the Crusaders 39-0. What was more of a surprise, that they played so well or that Owen Franks scored a try?
Well, I think Owen Franks was as surprised as anybody. Man, that's a long drought since 2010, 14 years to get his next try. So I think the smile on his face showed it all, because he doesn't tend to do anything expression-wise. So the fact that he had a smirk on his face for scoring a try was brilliant. But yeah, a really good Crusaders performance. I still thought at times a bit patchy, but ultimately when they needed to, they took their opportunities. That forward pack looks a hell of a lot more impressive. David Havili introduced back into the back line. I like the innovation of putting Johnny McNichol at fullback. They looked a lot better balanced, and it was a really good performance. To put a team that's in the top four of the competition away like that, that's a really good confidence boost.
Yeah, next couple of games are in New Zealand too. It's home the Reds, and then they play the Highlanders, and that Highlanders game could just about be a battle for the last spot, the 7th or 8th spot, you'd think, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would think so. Certainly both teams made good progress at the weekend by getting their wins. Again, the Highlanders game wasn't an impressive performance from them, but yet it was the W's that they were after, so it keeps them in the race. And certainly you would think when the Crusaders meet them in a couple of weeks' time, that could very well determine which side is probably going to miss out and which team is likely to sneak in. So plenty to look forward to in that match. But first of all, they've got to get through the next round, both these sides. And the Highlanders, Marty, they're off to play Moana Pacifica in Tonga. Never an easy trip going to the islands, and a place where many of those players probably would have never been before. So it doesn't get any easier for them.
That Crusaders loose forward trio, Grace at 6, Blackadder at 7, and Christian was at 8. But Grace and Blackadder, swapping around. What did you make of that?
I liked it. I really did. I like the fact that they decided just to muscle up and get physical by starting a really big pack. I like the fact that they've got 3 big ball carriers now in the loose forwards. It's utmost respect for what Christie does, and he's probably the best at his role in the competition in terms of tackle and turnover. But equally, there's more to the game than just that. Nowadays, you need good carry, you need go forward, and big bodies do that. And having Blackadder, Grace, in that mix, and then Leo Willie, who's playing outstandingly well. It was a really good back row. I liked it. And having Scott Barrett back, who is always a willing carrier as well, that forward pack is starting to look pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, do we still put an asterisk beside them? If they can get all of their players back, and that's a big if, isn't it? If they can and they make the finals, is it still a scary proposition for anyone that would get them in the first round?
Well, I think so, because they've got enough players there in the mix. You even throw the likes of Mitchell Drummond and Willie Hines when he gets fit again into that Havili, that entire forward pack to a degree. They've all been into knockout rugby before. They've been to finals. They've been to semi-finals. So they won't have that burden of, I guess, weight of expectation on them, and they will just know that they are in knockout rugby. They know how to get the job done in those situations. So that is mentally something that they have over all the other sides because of their success. So they're not going to be daunted by the prospect of being in an eliminator game, whereas other teams probably will have a little more anxiety. So that makes them a really difficult prospect to face, because they won't be daunted. And secondly, mate, they'll be pretty happy about the fact that they've actually even made it, given where they had been at the start of the season. So they'd be pretty much attitude of, oh, well, we're here, nothing to lose, we might as well get stuck in.
Let's look at the Brumbies versus the Hurricanes. I watched this game, Justin. I just think it was the last chance to dance for the Brumbies. They were at home. If they didn't win this game, I don't think anyone would have given them a hope in the final. So what did it tell you? Was it just an off day for the Hurricanes, or did the Brumbies play particularly well?
I think it was a slight combination of both, but probably more trending towards it was a very good performance from the Brumbies. Like, they came out of the gate, didn't they? They started well. They got early points. I certainly felt that they played completely different to the way that they played against the Blues at Eden Park. no doubt they would have had stern words to them because of that performance. As much as they tried to gloss over it as being all about the Blues, I thought the Brumbies were poor on the night themselves and were victims of the fact that they didn't front. They certainly fronted against the Hurricanes, so that's a massive positive for them, and they played completely different. They didn't kick as much ball away. They were quite prepared to attack from their own half, and they were really good with their continuity. They strung phase after phase after phase together, putting the Hurricanes' defence under pressure. Equally, a few changes again from Laidlaw in the starting 15, and they probably didn't have the rhythm and the synergy they usually have, the Hurricanes. Personally, I don't feel that the old cliche of it's not a bad thing to lose is relevant anymore. Like, momentum is momentum, and I'm pretty sure that they've given the rest of the competition a little bit of an insight to the fact that they can be vulnerable and they can be beaten. I would have, if I was Laidlaw, I would have started their top team and gone at the Brumbies and made another statement, but that hasn't happened. So they've opened the door a little bit for everybody else.
Justin Marshall with us. We're talking Super Rugby. We do this every Monday, and this is round 10. We're wrapping up at the moment. So what weaknesses or concerns for the glaring ones that stood out if you're looking at the Hurricanes?
Well, just how many points they got put on them. Their defence had been quite stingy up until that game, but they did get exposed a bit, and they coughed up more ball than they usually do. They just weren't quite in rhythm. Passes going to ground. Their game plan's been really fluid, and it hasn't been clunky at all. But I certainly felt that it was at the weekend. So, look, you would hope from their perspective that it was just the players a little bit being ambushed by the Brumbies and how good they were, them being slightly off their game, a few changes, players just sort of slightly timing was off, and some of the decision-making wasn't great. You would hope that it's a performance that they can pretty much put behind them very quickly and just get back into the rhythm they were in. But losses always cause debate. Like, why did this happen? Why did that happen? Okay, righto, we've got to fix this and fix that. Up until the weekend, they didn't have to have those conversations. So I guess probably when I look at it, it's just upset their flow a little bit. It's just now about how they react and how they fix it quickly.
The Chiefs have only got one question. Those tackles by Fino, are they legal or not?
Yeah, I like it. I tell you what, he so reminds me, Samipeni Finau, as of a modern day Jerry Collins. He's just got that raw attitude that he wants to go out there and just throw his body around. It doesn't matter who gets in his way, whether he's carrying or whether he's defending. He'll come at you and he'll try and hit you hard. And I certainly feel where he was making the impact on the big tackle at the weekend was in the right spot. It wasn't illegal, and he let Ed know that he was around, and that can be off-putting. So I'm all for it. Don't hold him back. Don't stop him. Let him do his best out there to play with the attitude that he takes into every game.